Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today. I am here with Charmaine Flanders. She is in her third year in college and she's attending Western Michigan University. And so, hello, Charmaine, how are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Awesome. So, thank you so much for joining me. So, you are a featured artist here in the month of June at Black Arts Culture Center downtown Kalamazoo. How does that feel?
It's amazing. This is my first art show. My passion to become an artist started at a young age at my grandparents' house. My granddaddy let me paint the bathroom door yellow with him, and that's when I first really loving art. He taught me that no matter how hard things may get or how impossible things may seem, that I should never give up. He always used to say, always keep churning.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Who would have thought, right? So, as an artist and student pursuing art therapy, what are the demographics of other artists in your field?
Art therapy is a white female dominated industry, and about 82% are female and 67% are white.
So, you're really going to be standing out in your industry. That's amazing.
I am a student at Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. I am the daughter of Omarr and Leona Carter. A few years ago, my mom took me downtown Kalamazoo, which is where we lived at the time, do to sign up for community service at the county clerk. So we're sitting there talking to this lady who has to do some paperwork for me. And she asked my mom a question that I was surprised by because it didn't like have any context leading up to the question. We were just doing the paperwork and she randomly asks, um, what county is your child support in? Then my mom was like, why would you assume that I get child support? Because we didn't mention it. Nobody brought it up. She was like, why would you assume that? The lady was like, uh.
All right, my name's Omar Carter. I was about 15 years old. So I was walking around the corner, heading back to the house to go get my bus pass. And right at that corner is this shiesty hotel. Police are always at this hotel. Things are always going on at this hotel. So I was just walking around this corner of this hotel, walking down the street, when 4 to 5 police cars approached me, guns drawn, yelling at me, screaming at me. Here I am, this 15-year-old kid. My first initial thought was that they were going to the hotel. But then they were yelling at me to stop, freeze, quit, don't do anything, and I froze. My hands were up. A couple officers immediately grabbed me, pushing my hands up, and they immediately started patting me down. Didn't ask to pat me down or anything like that, or they just started patting me down and flashing their lights around my feet. It's like, where'd you throw the drugs at? And I was like, I don't have any drugs. It's like, yeah, you do. Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where's the drugs? I'm like, I don't have any drugs. I was like, I go to the school right there. I live down the street right there. I don't have any drugs. And he's like, yeah, you do. And they was just screaming and yelling at me, and I was just like nervous, and my hands was up, and I was like, my first thought was like, I don't know who you're looking for, but it's not me.
I want individuals at their professions to view this video before or as a part of your next diversity and inclusion workshop. At the time of recording this documentary, my grandson here, Zayden, is 3 years old. So my question to you is, at what age does he become a threat to you?
So I remember specifically one instance. I was going to the airport and I was prepping to fly to another state to serve as the keynote speaker for a big conference. And as the airline made the announcements for first class customers to line up, I got in line. And I specifically remember a white female approaching me and literally tapping me on the shoulder and saying, "Oh, did you know that this was first class line?" as if I didn't know, wasn't aware, or didn't belong in the first class line. And I remained calm. I didn't allow that assumption to really rub me the wrong way, but I did respond nicely and kindly. And I said, yes, absolutely. This is the first class line. And I am so excited that I'm first class. And it wasn't as though I had never flown first class before. In fact, I fly first class pretty frequently, but I simply kept it to a minimal response where she would know that, yes, I was very clear that I was in the correct line.
One of the things that I don't think I was prepared to deal with is some of the assumptions that were made about me as a person as well as a speaker. And so, one of the interesting things, I had an opportunity to participate in a global speech competition, and I ultimately, won for my district, and then I was able to go on to compete at the international level. So many people, again, I never got this from a black person. I would always get this from, a white woman or white male. They would say, and I'm so surprised of how like articulate you are, because in their mind, there's something there. There's some bias. There's some impression that's in that man or woman's mind that made them say, "Wow, I was not expecting the message that came out of that black man's mouth to match up with, what I see."
So I have the pleasure of interviewing my son Cameron. So Cameron, say hello to the people.
Hey guys.
So, we're talking about, now this is the whole reason why I named my documentary Framed Black. It's from your story. So we were actually at a police forum. And in that police forum, they were talking about how, as African Americans, we conduct ourselves with the police and, things like that. So very informative, a forum in our community. And so we left that forum. What happened?
So as I'm walking, a police, car pulls up and one officer gets out and is just hounding and berating me with questions. Just, where are you? Where have you been, in the past hour? I guess they were looking for a guy and who was in a green shirt and who happened to be black. He was breaking into cars, and I guess I looked like him a little bit. And
So, and you said they were looking for a black guy in a green shirt who was breaking the cars, and you happen to be the black guy in a green shirt that they saw.
Yep. And, so I was just really compliant. The security from the hotel.
Okay, yeah.
So he's, running across the street, and he's like, no, it's not him. Nope, it's not him. And I guess it was an older gentleman. I guess they, tended to leave that part out.
Oh.
I'm only 15 at the time, 15,
Okay.
16. So I'm kind of younger. I mean, I'm, still about the same height, 6'3", 6'4", but I guess he was older, and they were looking
So the
for,
hotel knew, the hotel security guard, he knew you weren't the guy?
Yeah, like right off the bat, he's like, no, not him.
Oh, he told the police officer
Yep,
that?
he's like, nope, not him, nope. And the police
Wow.
officer kind of just, like, my bad, but, still trying to cover up for his mistake. He was like, okay, well, since we know it's not you now, you're free to go. I'm like, bruh.
Like nothing happened.
Yeah, just like nothing
And just
happened.
on his-
And
wow.
that caused me to be late. I missed the bus.
And now I remember you calling me.
Yeah, and
You
I was
remember
just like,
you
I
was
don't
like,
know.
Mama, you would not believe what
Yeah.
happened. And we were shocked because we just left
Yeah,
a
just the
police,
coincidence. Just
we
man.
just left a police community forum talking about how to conduct ourselves in front of the police, and there you were conducting yourself in front of the police.
What I would love for white America to know is that if you come across a professional of color who has made it in the industry that they're in, who is operating, who is successful, presume that they have really gone through and been able to kind of rise above various pressures and disadvantages that come from a system that was never truly designed for their success.
I would love for white America to understand that not all Black Americans are in a poverty-driven state, and that many of us are, even if we grew up in a poverty-driven environment, we have worked very diligently to climb out of that environment. And now we actually have the resources financially that allow us to enjoy the same luxuries in life that you do. And so when you see us in 5-star hotels and restaurants and we're flying first class, I want white America to see that as a norm, not just a once in a while thing, or that we don't belong or cannot afford that.
I think the first thing that I would love white Americans to know about assumptions made in Black America is that, number one, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. And that's the idea that I'm gonna just throw my hands up, it's not my problem, somebody else can deal with it. And there's a great quote that says, you can ignore reality, but you can't escape the consequences of ignoring reality. So essentially, regardless of what's happening, you're just the sheer nature of you existing in the world. And again, we're just talking about the United States in this example, but this is a global thing. There's no reality where you can just close your eyes and pretend like at some point you won't come face to face with the things that are ultimately broken in our society.
When I started working here in Kalamazoo, often I would go to the courthouses. And when I would go there, I would be representing someone whether they were a traffic situation or perhaps it was a criminal situation. And so I would go dressed like I am right now, nice tie, nice shirt, nice suit coat, suit jacket. And I would be talking with the actual opposing counsel. I mean, we would be knee deep in the negotiation of the case. And midway through the conversation, the question will be asked, is your attorney going to come at all at any point here today? And I would have to stop and say, well, I am the attorney. And it happened, it's okay if it happens once, right? All right, I get it. But it happened on multiple occasions, sometimes with the same attorneys. And that becomes very, it's hard to ignore, right? It's hard to understand that comes from a unconscious bias